This is another check-in with Dr. Jumi. I hope I have friends come up today. Let's talk about issues pertaining to being a woman in medicine and all the stuff we have going on. Yesterday was really interesting. We talked about being a brand versus being a brand influencer, and we agreed that for doctors, we should work towards being a brand. And then after you've become a brand, you can attract opportunities to influence based on your brand versus just looking for opportunities to influence, particularly if you don't have your value system set because of the ethos of medicine and the high level of expectation that our profession demands. And it was really interesting. So I look forward to us having another discussion again today. For those that don't know me, I'm fondly called Dr. Jumi. I have been practicing for a bit and I mentor early career physicians. I also provide peer-to-peer for my colleagues. So if you're a female medical practitioner or provider, or you find yourself in healthcare, I'm your go-to girl when it comes to all things mentoring, coaching, encouragement, support, and current catalyst, which I'll talk about later. So hopefully some other people join this live. I'm hoping somebody else joins this live. But I was thinking today, while we wait for somebody else to join the live, about this same discussion regarding branding. And the thought that came to my mind was identity. Who are you? Using myself as an example, I don't think I really knew who I was for a bit. You'll be surprised. I had an identity of medical student, of course, and then doctor. But really, if you asked me then, who was I will probably think a bit and say, I will say, in what way, in what regard, why are you asking? I want to identify based on whatever criteria your question was coming from. And I realized just mentoring and coaching for a bit that many female doctors, because those are the ones that actually spend time coaching, I don't know about the male doctors, are in that situation where they're really not sure of who they are, their identity. And really, that's what we call identity crisis, which is a terminology that was actually described by psychologists. And it happens usually around adolescence or just at critical periods of transition for us. You're coming from high school straight into medicine, medical school. And in that medical school bubble of 7 years, medical students, that's the identity that you take on for all the roles you have to play and the success you need to achieve. Then when you graduate from medical school, the next thing is what? I'm a doctor. And it's like, that's the identity you hold on to for that period of time. And so because of how we fix on those identities, it kind of impacts how we process or relate to other roles that are equally important or even much more important in our lives. And that comes to what I spoke about branding yesterday. Because if you're a doctor, I'm a female doctor, that's the mindset that you're carrying. How do you open up into other realities that pertain to your life and your life successes? And so one of the things I have done with the ladies in the network that I mentor is that we try to work on dealing with some mindsets that have fixed us in that identity role of, I'm just a doctor. The best of me is doctor. Outside of me, I'm not sure I can succeed or cope because all I have done is doctor. And the anxiety and fear that comes to needing to do anything else outside of medicine. Because that's where we're boxed. We're really smart, but our best effort is medicine. Because we haven't stepped out of anything outside of medicine. The identity consciousness that we have is a doctor. I've been in medicine for a long time. What more can I do? How much more can I show up outside of this medicine? Because I literally spent all my adolescence in medical training. But we need to break that in 2026. Now, I see a lot of doctors get excited that, okay, you know what, when I graduate, I'm going to become this, or when I finish residency, I'm going to become that. And then they struggle. And they're like, why can't I become this? Why? I'm smart. Because your identity has been locked in doctor. All you've been is doctor. Even though you have talents and skills. In fact, there are some of us that don't even know what our skills or talents are anymore. I was talking to one of us recently and she was like, the last time I read a book was before medical school. All I've read is medical books and I'm still reading medical books because I'm trying to do exams. And so you see the situation when it comes to the identity crisis that we're talking about. Now, I help my colleagues in the network, as I said, I help break down this fixed mindset that box us in that crisis so that we're able to do more, be more, and take on more. And I'm hoping that some people come up on this live so that we could actually have like an exchange and see if you see my thought process, and if you've ever had that kind of experience, being stuck in that identity, and how it's been of a challenge, or how you've been successful in breaking out from that mindset of, I'm a medical doctor, I'm a medical student, and that's all I can do. Because I'm a doctor, I can't be this, or I can't do that. Or I've tried to do this, I've tried to be that, but I'm struggling. And if there's any way they've been able to break out from that. So let's see if there's anybody here that has any comments to make about that. The thing is, identity crisis is a thing, and there are many ways to tackle it. The first one is recognition. If you recognize that you actually are stuck in that identity, you know that you are more. There's so much more to you. You can do more, you can be more, but you just feel like there's an inner struggle between showing up in the reality of who you are inside and what you want to do or become on the outside. Once you have that recognition, you're 50%, you've solved the problem 50%. But the first thing is, I would say, is identifying the problem, identifying that I'm dealing with this identity crisis inside of me. This is an example. Inside of me, I can speak to a crowd. Like, I'm so confident when it comes to speaking to a crowd. But when you give me the microphone, I literally freeze. I just can't translate to who I see myself to be on my inside to the reality I want to portray. Those are the concerns. And it's part of our training, because we're so conditioned to take on the identity of medical students or medical doctor or residents. It's like that's the conditioning you need to succeed in the reality, in your role at that point. That stepping out of that role becomes a problem. But through therapy, through working on your mindset, that's where mentoring, coaching comes in. Being in an environment that stimulates growth, that allows you to feel free to experiment with your other possibilities, all the potentials that you have. Somebody that is giving you the room to, like, you can do it. I've seen you do this before. Go for a try. Somebody that is cheering you on in the efforts you make to break that box. If you continue the discussions, the therapy, coaching, mentoring, the support system, the accountability through the community, I can reassure you that you will break that box, and then you will end up finding your true self. And it's not just maybe a personality, it could be many roles that you end up realizing you could actually occupy. And it gives you a sense of fulfillment at the end of the day that, wow, I am much more than just the medical students that I have been labeled, or I am much more than just this female that I have been labeled. I need to throw this thought in before I round up this live. This is also part of identity crisis, where you feel that the best of you can only thrive in a different environment. So the pressure to migrate, like many of us have, to do board exams and to migrate from, for example, Nigeria to the United Kingdom or to Canada, for example. And so if you are so fixated that you cannot succeed because you are stuck in Nigeria, that's another identity crisis, because you're so sure that the best of your ability needs to be in a different environment. Now, I would say environment definitely affects how you perform and how you succeed. And we know for certain that better environments with better support will definitely help you thrive. But if you haven't fixed your identity, regardless of whichever location, whether it's Nigeria, whether it's Canada, you will still struggle, because you will keep on thinking that there is something missing. But there's always like a destination happiness, where you're like, I need to get to that next destination before I can thrive or succeed. So the goal is that you find yourself, you accept and you are secure in yourself. And then with what you have around you, at that moment, you are still able to harness the resources to help you succeed, regardless of where you are planted, regardless. Because what makes you succeed is not necessarily what is outside, it's what is inside of you. And so I always say, let's start with the root problem. The root cause is the identity crisis, the fixed mindset of, this is all I can be at this time, doctor, and my best of me is tied to where I'm located or planted. It's a lot of unpack that we do, but I need to just check in today and just share these thoughts with you. I want to thank many of you that joined the live. None of you made any comments, but it's okay. I will share this play later on and see if any of you have any questions or thoughts about it. I will end with this charge. Identity crisis is real. It affects many female doctors, even to midlife. Many of us are stuck with who exactly I am, or what exactly was I created to do, and is medicine all there is? But I can reassure you that there's a way out, and reach out for help if you need help. Okay, I wish you all a good take care.